Hi, and welcome to part two of how to release soul heavy soul contracts and how to claim your soul sovereignty. Now, on the last video that I did, and if you haven't seen that video, please watch it first before you listen to this one. I explained all about how when we incarnate, we can inherit heavy ancestral contracts and blood contracts that can really run very deeply and very silently in the background without us even realizing that we have these contracts running. And as we all know, as light workers and star seeds and way showers, we've chosen families that are very challenging. We did this on purpose. I mean, we may have a little laugh and say, if I know now, I wouldn't have been incarnated into this family or whatever. But we choose these families very specifically because we look at what's running down the ancestral lines and how much it's impacting the collective consciousness on the planet and what it's doing to stunt or halt the ascension process for many. And we choose these families depending on who we are and why we want to choose these families. We choose them, we come in, and at some point when we've done so much shadow work, we've done so much, we suddenly hit against these heavy ancestral contracts. And there is always a way to release them. We have very powerful methods now. I have very powerful methods for releasing ancestral contracts. I very much, I actually facilitate a white flame ancestral healing temple, and we're able to call on all of our ancestors from the very beginning, from both the maternal and the paternal line, and we clear all of our families' soul contracts and heavy ancestral trauma in those sessions, and we then are able to gift them with these beautiful energetic gifts. We give them the white flame of ascension to help clear them. We give them the white rose of illumination, all sorts of different energetic gifts that actually enable your ancestors to break free off the wheel of samsara and reincarnation, and also be able to heal and clear up whatever nets they may be in, or whatever heavy cording or contracts they're running, which prevents them from moving up and elevating their consciousness and taking the ascension journey themselves. So lots of things that we can do to help our ancestors. Now, I mentioned in the last video superconscious rescinding statements. Now, these are sort of, they're like decrees, but what they do is they are an instrument of divine law and will. Now, as you remember, or you may remember from my last video, I talked about the fact that New Earth is all about divine will, and that is us being a vehicle for our I am presence, or and our monad. Another term might be higher self, and we are in total alignment with our I am presence and what our I am present wants for us, what our soul wants for us. We deliver. We have incorporated and merged so much of our I am presence within us, a monad, that we are the monad in a living, breathing physical body. So we're able to deliver divine will. And that's living in alignment as well. Another term for that is living in alignment with your heart, and listening to your heart center and taking appropriate action when you need to in regards to your heart. So these divine statements, what they do is they cut through the cording and the netting of the soul. So if you imagine, actually, I'm just looking at my mandala here. If you look at the center of the mandala, imagine that as your soul, a beautiful golden blossomed, beautiful avatar soul, gorgeous soul, right? And imagine all this is netting around you, and all of these things that are linked to you in the middle are actually entrapments and cording and contracts that have built up over centuries and eons of time. What you want to do, isn't it, is dissolve these bits. You need to cut them off so that you can free you in the middle, that beautiful wheel in the middle, that beautiful flower in the middle, to be released so you're free and you can float off to wherever you want to float, back to source and back to the God worlds, wherever your soul wants to go. But your soul's trapped. Your soul's trapped on this wheel of reincarnation. So imagine this outer bit here. Let me stand here so you can see. So this outer bit here is the wheel of reincarnation, and you're trapped on it like a wheel, like literally a wheel. You're in the middle, you're here, and these are all your soul contracts and cordings. So when we do a superconscious rescinding statement, let me just do this. I wasn't planning to do this, but evidently it's a good idea. When you do the superconscious rescinding statement, what it tends to do is it starts to cut into these bindings and cordings. And because you're delivering divine law, it's like an arrow of truth, an arrow of divine truth and power and law, the divine laws. So these bindings start to get weaker and weaker. They start to get thinner and thinner, and some of them start to spring off and ping off because you're delivering divine law to this energy field that has been formed around you, which is not of divine, pure source, divine love. Yeah, and it's also breaking divine law. All of this around you. Yeah, so I hope that analogy or that image gives you an understanding that the superconscious then starts to dig into these things. And the more that we do the energetic work with the superconsciousness together, you start to break down and these big accords start to dissolve and break away. And before you know it, you're free. And suddenly you can float up and off the wheel of reincarnation. And also, all of this disappears. So just think, some of these heavy bindings could be ancestral contracts. So these big, thick ones here, these big ones running down and up here, could be heavy ancestral contracts. There could be satanic contracts running in your family that you don't even know about, which are causing you to be locked or locked down, and you feel like you're banging your head against an invisible wall. That's how I felt when I came through this. It was sort of like I couldn't get past that invisible wall. I was hitting against it. I could feel it, and it was doing the work to dissolve all of this. So over my 14 years of doing this work and bringing these teachings forwards and journeys and activations, I've now got a really, really wonderful understanding of what occurs, even in the most horrific circumstances for people and souls when they've been through satanic ritual abuse, MK Ultra, monarch programming. They've had sort of the most horrific spiritual abuse thrown at them that you can have, energetic abuse, torture, everything done to actually stop them waking up. Symbols put into their aura to block their chakras, symbols put into their aura to shut down their heart centers, symbols put into their aura to mark them as fodder for abuse. All of that occurs, all right? Now, as I say, those heavy contracts running around the centre of the soul will have almost facilitated that. And so, definitely in my experience, not everybody's experience, but in my experience, I was born into a family that was running a heavy satanic contract. So that satanic contract immediately marked me as being fodder for abuse as such. Yeah, and that's how they see you. They don't see you as a human being or a beautiful soul. They see you as a food source. And also being targeted, knowing that I was a soul incarnating and why I was coming in. They knew who I was before I got here and what probably I would do. And also the satanic contract running down my family side of the family. Sorry, my satanic contract running, which actually then is almost like a precursor to yes, I agree, I consent to being abused. Now, no one consents to being abused, do they? No one. But what I'm saying is the contract, the satanic contract that was running had already been agreed several generations back. So, one of my ancestors going back 7 generations had already agreed to this contract, had made this contract, and it was a blood contract, which means it comes down the firstborn of all of the family. I'm the firstborn. So, of course, I inherited that contract. I inherited it in 2014 when my dad died. So it was very interesting. That was a very dark time for me. And I couldn't understand why. Okay, I was grieving my dad, of course, and my mother had died 3 years before that. But it was a very, very heavy, heavy energy that was placed upon me as soon as he died. I felt it. It was, I spent 5 days in bed after I'd buried him, and I couldn't understand why. Like, why was I so bad? I had all the tools, energetic tools. I used to meditate, self healing, all of those things. But I just couldn't shake off this heavy, horrible overcoat of darkness and fear that came over me. Now I know, in hindsight, I now know that was the ancestral satanic contract which I'd inherited and was wanting to overtake me and completely overwhelm me. And it took all the strength I had and courage and power that I had to actually override that. And it took me a while, but I did it. I did it. So that's what I'm just explaining about how souls can get dragged down. It's not your fault. You haven't done anything wrong. I get lots of people that I've worked with that have, have very heavy interference, have a lot of demonic attacks, and lots of horrible things going on with them. And they're saying, I must have been really bad in another lifetime. I must have done something terrible to deserve this. No, you haven't. Right? You haven't. We've all had our dark lifetimes. We've all had our lifetimes where we've had to experience what it's like to be on the other end of something, to actually perpetrate and be the perpetrator of a crime, because we need to understand forgiveness. We need to understand how someone can lose their way, yeah, and can lose their light, or forget, not lose it, but forget that they are the light and they came from the light, and they forget what it feels like to feel love, real love. So all of that contributes to us having these experiences and journeys, of course, our shadow side. But please don't think that you've done something terrible to warrant that. It normally means, actually, the more targeted you are, the more powerful you are as a soul. In my experience, that the more targeted you are, the more powerful the soul. They go for the souls that they know are going to do something so devastating to them, or to contribute to clearing and lifting and ascending this planet and the universe around as well, that they will do all they can to make sure that you're not in functioning order. So I hope that sort of eases you, and you think, that actually there's nothing wrong with you. But it's my job, and part of my mission, to make sure that starseeds, Waitrose light workers, souls, humanity, gets the tools they need to get themselves out of this. So, and it's my passion and my absolute desire and destiny to do that, for sure. And I love bringing solutions forwards for people, because a lot of people will not understand. Some of you, and other healers, other teachers, whatever you want to call them, will not understand how deep and dark this can get. And it doesn't do any good to just pretend that it doesn't exist, or to just love and light it away, because it won't work. And we can't wallpaper over the cracks. We have to mend the cracks and seal them back up and bring them back into their pure and pristine shape and form, to actually solve the problem, and which we can do, So it's no good just trying to paste over it and pretend it doesn't exist. There's a lot of gaslighting goes on in regards to, if you don't concentrate on the darkness, you'll be fine. If you don't talk about it, it will go away. I don't want to hear what you've got to say about your attacks and energy interference attacks, because that might happen to me, or you'll bring that upon me. All of that stuff that goes on. Or you must have been really bad to have been attacked like that. If you've been subject to ritual abuse, then you evidently have been a bad person. I've had that. Yeah, and that's bullshit. It's bullshit. So, mind my language, but excuse my language, but there you go. I like to say it as it is. And so, but there is a way out of this. There is. And as I say, the superconscious rescinding statement, Lisa Renee from Ascension Glossary actually did, I think, the original wording of the superconscious. I use the term superconscious because I like the way she opened up that statement of divine law and intention that she does. But I've been writing those statements for a number of years. So what the beautiful thing was I was able to look at that and think, wow, I like the wording of that. And I'm going to add my take on it. I'm going to add in what I know we can clear with these sort of statements. So I have got a series of statements that help in actually sort of refuting the contract, sending back the spiritual equity and burden that's been placed upon you by your ancestral contract, by the abuse that you may have undergone as a child or even an adult, by anything where someone has placed a blame on you or has attacked you verbally, mentally, physically, sexually, emotionally. And what they're doing is they're placing an energy upon you, yeah, of shame, guilt. You're a bad person, yeah, and or blaming you for something that you've done, but you didn't do it. You get blamed for something that's happened and you didn't do it. You're not responsible for it, but you get blamed for it. Yeah. Again, the superconscious, what it does is you stay under divine law that this is not your burden to carry, and that you're sending the burden back to the person who placed it upon you in the first place. Now, that is not being aggressive. that is not being, shall we say, you're not fighting, you're not being aggressive, and you're not physically or energetically attacking that person. What you're doing is delivering back to the creator of the energy they created in the first place. That's different. And that is the law of cause and effect, karma. Anything that you have caused which causes another person suffering and harm has to come back to you, because you have to then take the consequences of placing that upon that person in the first place, whether you meant to do it or not. And we all deal with instant karma now. We're all at the point where we're starting to clear huge shifts of karma, and we're at that instant karma. So if you put something out where you try and hurt someone, it comes straight back to you, doesn't it? Straight away, because we're at that point. So that is entirely appropriate for you to deliver back to a person that which they have tried to harm you with, which you're not responsible for. So that's why superconscious rescinding statements are wonderful for sending back the karma and the burden, the shame and the guilt that has been placed upon you if you've ever been abused in any shape or form, if you've ever been verbally attacked, if you've ever been blamed for something that you didn't do. We carry that as an energetic burden, almost like a suitcase that we carry with that shame and guilt and burden on us. And quite often, some of us actually will take on a group burden or karma, which is massive, which is not only for one person, but maybe a group of people. And in the trickery of the old times and old timelines, we have been placed or have been given huge karmic burdens that are not ours to carry. I've seen that. I call them karmic loads. And they have to be dismantled and cleared and sent back to the original perpetrators of it in the first place. So all of that is just being in alignment with divine law and actually acting as a sovereign being, a sovereign soul, a master soul. A soul who ascends will know what they are to carry and not carry. They will know what they have to take responsibility for and not take responsibility for. Boundaries, energetic boundaries. And that's what we're talking about. So the superconscious, I've many derivatives of the superconscious now, and they're all available actually in my Heart of the Star membership, which I'm running, and my training, and my 13-step process for soul sovereignty. And you know, you can never do too many superconscious rescinding statements, I'm telling you. And it's very much a tool for offloading energetic attack. So if you have black magic being sent to you, and all of us have black magic sent to us every day, because in the 3D world right now, we are being spelled every day. We're being programmed every day. Programming, television, tele-lie. Yeah, it's all, that's programming. We're being black magicked through the word and the law right now that they have created, the laws of the land, the maritime law. All of this is spelling. It's black magic. So we're all being black magicked one way or another. Some of us that have the ability or have been very powerful adepts in other lifetimes and have gone through the mystery schools and have got our magical sort of background, and we lots of us that, then you know, quite often we will get a lot of black magic towards us because we are there to negate that and to clear it and to transmute it and heal it. But as I say, the superconscious is very good for sending back black magic attacks, sending back mind control attacks, sending back any energy interference that's going towards you. And this is something that, again, I teach, and others teach actually. There are others that teach this. And as I say, it's a very powerful way of keeping your energy field clear and also creating boundaries around your energy field, and looking after that energy field on a very, profound level. So I hope you're starting to understand that. Some of you will know about rescinding statements already. And they, as I say, are very powerful tools. What I'll do is I'll put the general superconscious rescinding statement in the uh, in the explanation with this video. All right, but I, between myself and a couple of others, we have written some amazing superconsciouses which really do cover more situations, which is, and the more precise you are with what has occurred, the more detail you put into it, the sort of like more effective it is. Yeah, the more powerful it is, because you get into the real heart and the power and the point of the matter. So, and I found over, how long have I been using superconscious? Well, I've been using similar statements, since about 2014. But I started using a more powerful way of saying it from about 2020. And as I say, it's really helped. And I've seen so many people assisted with using these statements on a regular basis. You don't just say it once. You have the general one for everything. And then you can actually, there's different ones that you can use for different situations. If you get brave, and you get confident, you can actually change the wording in the middle of it to fit the situation that you want to address right now. So that's something that you can do. And as I say, it's a very powerful tool that will assist you, and it's very, very effective. It's like, it's like I see like a light wand going through black magic when I see it. It's like there's a cloud of black magic like around you, or in front of you, or a cloud of negative energy, whatever you want to say. And then this superconscious goes flying into it, and it's like a lightsaber. It goes in and slices through it, and then it just starts to disappear and dissolve and clear, which is, a wonderful thing, and very, very needed right now with what a lot of us are having to heal and transmute on a very, very profound level. And I think that a lot of us have really gone into these heavy families, and we've really not realised quite what we were letting ourselves in for. I say that all the time, like, oh my God. I had no idea what I was letting myself in for, I don't think. Not on this level of awareness or consciousness. I mean, your I am presence is going to know. But what I'm saying is, it's oh, wow. Some of the stuff that some of the families we've been born into and what we've had to deal with is just absolutely horrific. And the stories and the trauma and the you just think of the past, the massacres, the sacrifices, the genocides, the major wars, the trauma that our ancestors have been through and had to live through is just horrific. And we're carrying that trauma through our generational lines. And that is a heavy burden. Never mind the soul karma that we brought in this lifetime, we brought in to clear up. And then we have to clear up the line that we were born into. I mean, no wonder we look like we're drowning half the time in it, if you know what I'm saying. Because, it's so heavy. And that's why my system's been born. My Heart of the Star system's been born and birthed, to actually, put a hand out to these amazing star seeds and souls that came here and volunteered to come here to do this work and to lift this world up, and are struggling and like, we need a bit of help. Can you give us a bit of help? Well, this is it. this is what is offered to you. So I hope that's helped. The superconscious I'm going to put in the description box will include rescinding against mechanisms, implants, and devices, which helps. The more in detail we go about that in regards to if we've been implanted or we feel with any mechanisms or implants in our system, the more detail we get, the better the result as well in regards to that as well, in regards to the statement. And declaring your soul sovereignty. Now, no matter what you do, if you decree under divine law, and you ask the superconscious, when you're talking to the superconscious, you're talking to source and you're talking to your I am presence. So those two are the ones, because your I am presence is is the one who is vibrating at 7D plus and is here to take you back to source. So you're asking your you're asking your I am presence to witness in your monad, your 144, and you're also asking source to witness that you are declaring your soul sovereignty. What I tend to do is when I do a decree of soul sovereignty, I put the councils of light in there as well, so that the councils of light are and the court, almost like we're asking the courts of heaven, to witness that we are claiming our sovereignty in its entirety, our soul freedom on all levels, in all dimensions, all realities, all timelines, past, present, and future, all fake and false timelines, all parallel lives, and in all universes. Not just one realm, in all universes, and in this, and on this planet and this realm, we are declaring soul sovereignty. And when you put that decree out and you say that instrument of divine law, it has to happen. And there are layers to it. It just doesn't happen automatically. There are layers to it. But once you've announced that, right, then you are then sending that signal out everywhere. Like, I am going for soul sovereignty and soul freedom, and you will give it to me, and I will get it. And it's a very powerful statement of intention on behalf of yourself and your soul that you are going to achieve this. There's a lot more to it than that, but just in a nutshell, that's a very powerful thing to do. Okay, so I'm going to leave that there. I hope this has helped in some aspects for you. And I will be advertising my Heart of the Star 13-step process journey in the next week. And we will be open for sign-ups from the 1st of January, or the last week in between Christmas and New Year. I'll probably open it up early. But from the 1st of January onwards, that will be able to be accessed, and as I say, it will be a staggered thing in membership where you do it under your own steam, with the community backing you up and myself, and you do it in your own time as well, and you've got the support of myself and community to go through the process. So anyway, lots of love. I hope you have a great winter solstice and Yule on the 21st of December. And I hope you get time to spend with loved ones or friends and family. And if you're on your own, then I'm sending you love, but you're never on your own, because the divine's with you and we're always with you. And all of your soul team are there with you and your soul family. So sending you lots of love, and take care. Bye.